Like any discipline, psychology has an ethical code of conduct. It's a document made by the American Psychological Association that outlines ethical guidelines for professionals in psychology. This includes students, professors, researchers, clinicians, psychologists in other professional domains too, like public service, policy development, forensics, or program administration. Psychologists and psychology students in research complete their city training with concepts like general principles of beneficence and non-maleficence, fidelity and responsibility, integrity, justice, and respect for people's rights and dignity. Or you've probably heard again and again about the Stanford Prison Experiment, the Milgram Experiment, or the Tuskegee Trials. These are important to know. It's good that they're included in trainings and introductory psychology classes, though the Ethical Code of Conduct is lengthy. It has 10 sections broken down into 89 parts. There's a lot that can't be covered in one training. Later in your psychology career, you may take a course on ethics or be expected to review the entirety of the APA Ethical Code. Until then, this video sums up a few topics that may be relevant to you now. Number 1. Confidentiality and de-identification. This is something that is talked about a lot in the research world, in introductory psychology classes and in your city training. And of course, the Ethics Code has tons of coverage on it. Psychologists have an obligation to protect confidential information, only sharing information on a need-to-know basis. This is largely done through de-identifying the data, removing any factors that could reasonably allow someone to trace the information back to a specific individual. This includes stripping names, student IDs, demographic combinations that are too unique, and any other details that could inadvertently reveal a participant's identity. Now, this is made pretty clear in much of your psychology training. What might not be clear is just how important confidentiality is. One powerful example of why confidentiality and thorough de-identification matters comes from a real case involving psychologist and memory researcher Dr. Elizabeth Loftus and a woman known publicly as Nicole Klempner. Nicole had been the subject of a published case study involving recovered memories of childhood abuse. She did interviews as a child and a teenager that were recorded and later published in a case study. Years later, Loftus, acting as a researcher and journalist investigating the scientific validity of the case, attempted to fact-check the original report. In doing so, she contacted people from Nicole's life, including family members, teachers, and her mother, without Nicole's consent. Although the published case study had been de-identified, Loftus was still able to track down Nicole's identity because in the recordings of the interviews, the researcher failed to remove mentions of Nicole's first name and the state she had lived in. With just this information, Loftus was able to conduct her investigation that ultimately revealed Nicole's personal history and reopened deeply painful chapters of her life. Nicole later argued that this process re-traumatized her, exposed private details she believed were protected, and disrupted her emotional well-being for years. This case is a reminder that confidentiality is not just a procedural step or an IRB box to check. It is something that, when neglected or handled carelessly, can profoundly affect someone's life and the consequences cannot be undone. You have a lot of power in your hands when you are dealing with identifiable data. You should not talk casually about the data you have because it could put someone's life at risk. If you are de-identifying data, be sure to triple check it. As a psychologist, you have a lot of responsibility. It's not just recommended because it's in the Code of Ethics. It's recommended to keep everyone involved safe and protected. Let's move on to the second topic for today in ethical psychology. The psychology field is demanding. It comes with many deadlines and expectations, and oftentimes a lot of emotional energy can be spent, leaving you drained, tired, or stressed. Imperative to your success as a psychologist, you need to take care of yourself. You heard me right. You're watching a video about the American Psychological Association's Ethical Code of Conduct, and I'm telling you in full candor that written in ink, they insist that you take care of yourself. The code has an entire section on competence. That is, you should provide service only within the boundaries of your competence, only when you have the proper training and can perform proficiently. If you have not taken care of yourself sufficiently and are unwell, your ability to provide proficient service is diminished. Specifically, Standard 2.06 states, psychologists refrain from initiating an activity when they know or should know that there is a substantial likelihood that their personal problems will prevent them from performing their work-related activities in a competent manner. When psychologists become aware of personal problems that may interfere with their performing work-related duties adequately, they take appropriate measures, such as obtaining professional consultation or assistance, and determine whether they should limit, suspend, or terminate their work-related duties. This applies in so many instances, to which only you will be able to know where your limits are. If you have personal instances of grief, whether that's because a loved one has passed, a program rejected your application, or a relationship ended, or you became injured, a global shift has occurred, or you get rear-ended, I don't know. Whatever it is, take the time to grieve, rest, and recover. The assignments, meetings, classes, and research can wait. Then, when you come back to them, you'll be able to give it your best effort. This also applies if you find yourself in instances where your workload is too overwhelming. College is hard, and you do need to be prepared to take on a lot, though not at the expense of your health and well-being. Let your professor or your supervisor know what you need, come up with a plan to get back on track, rest, and return. What happens if you don't? What happens if you push through? Well, for one thing, your health will probably suffer the consequences, though so will your work. If you're too tired, you might forget steps in the trials you run in your lab. You might misspeak in a presentation. You might be off your game when coming up with probing interview questions. Taking care of yourself will benefit your own health and your work and the work that you're collaborating with others on. So, take care of yourself. It's written in the code and is an expectation that you will do so. The last piece of the ethics code I'll go over today is based on multiple relations. As you continue down the path of psychology, you're going to serve in different roles. Right now, you are an undergraduate student. Along the way, you may hold other roles. You may be a research assistant, a graduate student, a teaching assistant, or a professor. In many cases, you'll hold more than one role at the same time. This is referred to as multiple relations, and it introduces some ethical dilemmas. For example, imagine your teaching assistant. They're graduate students who are helping professors lead undergraduate classes. They're grading your tests, answering your questions, maybe offering some office hours. Now, some classes are cross-listed, meaning they are open for both graduate and undergraduate students to enroll in. Say your TA ends up in another one of your classes as a student, and you are put together in a group project. Maybe your TA will learn that you struggled on the first exam they graded, or maybe you'll learn personal information about them through the group collaboration. This overlap blurs boundaries. As a TA, they have evaluative power over you. As a classmate, they are supposed to be your peer. You might feel uncomfortable contributing honestly, worrying about how it could affect their grading. Likewise, the TA might feel conflicted about maintaining fairness, avoiding favoritism, or keeping your academic information confidential. Situations like this create multiple relationships. Again, when a person holds more than one role with the same individual, which can impair objectivity and lead to ethical dilemmas. Some other examples might be if a professor is supervising a student's research project while also serving as their academic advisor and teaching their course. Or if a peer mentor is assigned to support a first-year student who also happens to be their roommate. In research settings, some professors might recruit participants who are also their current students. Or a PhD student might be interviewing incoming applicants, and one of them is their best friend. These situations will come up. When they do, it's your responsibility to handle it ethically. You'll want to start by checking what is stated in the APA Ethics Code. First, assess if it is a dual relationship. A multiple relationship occurs when a psychologist is in a professional role with a person and at the same time is in another role with the same person, at the same time is in a relationship with a person closely associated with or related to the person with whom the psychologist has the professional relationship, or promises to enter into another relationship in the future with the person or a person closely associated with or related to the person. If the the relationship has not occurred yet, the ethics code says to refrain from entering into a multiple relationship if the multiple relationship could reasonably be expected to impair the psychologist's objectivity, competence, or effectiveness in performing his or her functions as a psychologist, or otherwise risks exploitation or harm to the person with whom the professional relationship exists. If the relationship will cause these impairments, figure out how to set the proper boundaries. The code carefully notes that multiple relationships that would not reasonably be expected to cause impairment or risk, exploitation, or harm are not unethical. Now, if the multiple relationship is causing harm, it is their responsibility to take reasonable steps to resolve it with due regard to the best interests of the affected person. If you find yourself in this situation, start by discussing the situation with a fellow trusted psychologist, likely your supervisor. They will be able to guide you through how to ethically handle the situation. Be prepared to serve in different roles as a psychologist. Some ways you can prepare are to generally proceed with caution and err towards transparency and honesty. In your roles, present yourself professionally, though don't forget to express yourself as a human too. Always consult the ethics code and ask for help if you need it. Transparency and consulting your supervisor will go a long way. This brings us to the end of this brief ethical advice as you continue in your psychology careers. To recap, remember to take confidentiality and de-identification of your research seriously. It could have unimaginable consequences for your participants. Take care of yourself first and foremost. The APA Ethics Code says so. And lastly, be aware as you navigate multiple relations while holding different roles throughout your academic and professional journey. Should you want to take a look yourself, the APA Ethics Code can be found on the APA website. When in doubt, refer to the code first. Every situation is different and should be handled accordingly. And the ethical nature of a situation is not always set in stone. It can change and adapt as time goes on. Be transparent, communicate clearly, and prioritize practicing good ethics as you dive into the research world.